Who I am. Discovering myself. Introduction. Maya sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the blank notebook in her lap. The faint hum of the city outside her window was soothing, yet inside, her thoughts were a whirlwind. Who am I? She whispered to herself, the question echoing in the quiet room. She had asked herself this many times before, but tonight it felt different, urgent, almost necessary. At 22, Maya felt like she should have answers. Her friends seemed to have everything figured out. Some were starting their dream jobs, others were traveling the world. But Maya? She was stuck. She lived in a small apartment with her parents, worked part-time at a coffee shop, and spent her evenings scrolling through social media, comparing her life to others. Maya's parents, kind and hard-working, wanted the best for her. Her father, a schoolteacher, often said, "Education is the key to success." Her mother, who ran a small bakery, encouraged Maya to find something stable. "You need a career that supports you," she would say while kneading dough. Maya loved them dearly, but their advice only added to her confusion. What if stability wasn't what she wanted? What if she didn't even know what she wanted? One day, while cleaning her room, Maya found an old journal from high school. She flipped through its pages, smiling at the messy handwriting and doodles in the margins. She paused at one entry, "I love painting. It makes me feel alive." Maya couldn't remember the last time she had painted. Life after high school had been a series of practical decisions, choosing a degree she didn't care about, dropping out when it got too overwhelming, and taking the first job she could find to pay the bills. Somewhere along the way, she had lost the spark she once felt. The journal entry lingered in her mind as the days passed. Could painting be a clue to who she really was? Maya decided to explore this idea, but fear held her back. What if she wasn't good enough? What if people laughed at her for trying? One evening, her best friend, Sam, called. "You sound off," Sam said after Maya answered. "What's going on?" Maya hesitated before replying, I feel like I don't know who I am anymore." Sam chuckled gently. "Welcome to adulthood," they said. "But seriously, why don't you try something new? Or better yet, something you used to love?" Sam's words stuck with Maya. Maybe it was time to stop worrying about the perfect life and start experimenting. Maybe she didn't need to have all the answers right now. That night, Maya pulled out an old set of watercolors from the back of her closet. She hesitated for a moment, then dipped a brush into the paint and let it glide across the paper. The colors flowed freely, and for the first time in years, Maya felt a small flicker of joy. It wasn't much, but it was a start. The first challenge. The morning sun streamed through the kitchen window as Maya sat at the dining table with her parents. The familiar scent of her mother's freshly baked bread filled the air, but it did little to ease the tension she felt. "So, "What are your plans, Maya?" her father asked, sipping his tea. His voice was gentle, but the question was one she dreaded. Maya hesitated. She had been avoiding this conversation for weeks. "I'm still thinking about it," she replied, trying to sound confident. Her father frowned slightly. "You've been saying that for a while now. Don't you think it's time to make a decision?" Her mother, always the peacekeeper, chimed in. "What about teaching, like your father? It's a stable job, and you're good with kids." Maya forced a smile. "I'm not sure teaching is for me," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. The truth was, Maya had no idea what she wanted to do. Her parents' suggestions only made her feel more trapped. Teaching? Business? Nursing? None of these options excited her. They all felt like boxes she didn't fit into. As the conversation dragged on, Maya's mind wandered. She thought about the watercolor painting she had started the night before. It wasn't perfect, far from it, but creating something with her own hands had brought her a sense of peace she hadn't felt in years. Could painting be more than just a hobby? The idea thrilled her, but the fear of failure held her back. After breakfast, Maya retreated to her room. She sat on her bed, staring at her phone. Her social media feed was full of people announcing promotions, new jobs, and exciting projects. She felt a pang of envy. Why did everyone else seem to have their lives together? Later that day, Maya met her cousin Priya for coffee. Priya was a year older than Maya and had recently started her own graphic design business. She was one of the few people Maya felt comfortable opening up to. "I just feel stuck," Maya confessed, stirring her cappuccino absent-mindedly. "Everyone else seems to know what they're doing, and I'm here, wasting time." Priya nodded. "I felt the same way after college," she said. "But then I realized something. No one really has it all figured out. We're all just trying different things until something clicks." Maya sighed. "But how do you even start? And what if I fail?" Priya leaned forward, her expression serious. "You will fail sometimes. That's part of the process. But every failure teaches you something. The key is to start small. Experiment. Give yourself permission to try." Her words stayed with Maya as she walked home. Priya made it sound so simple, but Maya couldn't shake the fear of disappointing her parents or wasting time on something that wouldn't work out. The real challenge came later that week when her father brought home a pamphlet for a local teaching program. "I thought you might want to take a look," he said, placing it on the table. Maya felt her chest tighten. "Thanks, Dad," she said, picking up the pamphlet. She didn't have the heart to tell him she wasn't interested. That night, Maya stayed up late, torn between her parents' expectations and her own desires. She knew she needed to make a decision, but the pressure was overwhelming. Finally, she grabbed her journal and started writing. What do I really want? She scribbled at the top of the page. She listed everything that came to mind: painting, creativity, freedom, self-expression. The list felt messy and incomplete, but it was a start. Maya realized that her first challenge wasn't just about choosing a career. It was about finding the courage to listen to herself, even if it meant disappointing others. The next morning, Maya approached her father in the living room. "Dad, I appreciate the pamphlet, but I need more time to figure out what I want," she said, her voice shaking slightly. Her father looked at her for a moment, then nodded. "Okay," he said. "But don't take too long, Maya. Life doesn't wait." Maya felt a mix of relief and anxiety. She had stood up for herself, but the road ahead was still uncertain. For the first time, though, she felt a tiny spark of hope. Grammar highlights. Modal verbs. What about teaching? Present continuous. I'm still thinking about it. Past tense. To describe conversations and events. Vocabulary highlights. Describing emotions: anxious, envious, relieved. Useful phrases: I appreciate it, I need more time, life doesn't wait. Meeting a mentor. The afternoon sunlight streamed through the windows of the local library as Maya walked in. It had been years since she had last visited. Rows of bookshelves lined the space, and the faint smell of paper and ink filled the air. She had come here not to borrow a book, but to attend a free creative workshop advertised on a community board near her apartment. Maya wasn't sure why she had decided to come. Maybe it was Priya's advice about trying new things, or perhaps it was her growing curiosity about painting. Either way, she felt nervous. What if the people here were all professionals? What if she didn't belong? As she stepped into the workshop room, a woman greeted her with a warm smile. "Hi there. Welcome to the Creativity Workshop. I'm Lila, the facilitator," she said. Lila was in her 40s, with streaks of silver in her dark hair and a colorful scarf draped around her neck. Maya smiled shyly. "Hi, I'm Maya. This is my first time doing something like this." "Great. You're in the right place," Lila said. "We're all here to explore and have fun. No pressure." The room was cozy, with a large table in the center surrounded by a small group of people. Art supplies were scattered across the table: paints, brushes, markers, and blank sheets of paper. Maya sat down, her heart racing as she looked around. As the session began, Lila introduced a simple exercise: draw or paint whatever came to mind when thinking about the word freedom. Maya hesitated, unsure of where to start. Lila noticed her hesitation and walked over. Feeling stuck, she asked gently. Maya nodded. I'm not sure I'm any good at this. Lila chuckled. Good? Who said anything about being good? Creativity isn't about perfection, it's about expression. Just let your hands move and see what happens. Encouraged by Lila's words, Maya picked up a paintbrush and began to paint. At first, her strokes were cautious and hesitant, but as the colors blended on the paper, she felt a sense of ease. She painted a vibrant sky with birds soaring high, a simple but meaningful image of freedom. When the session ended, Lila approached Maya again. That's a beautiful piece, she said, gesturing to Maya's painting. There's something very honest about it. Thank you, Maya said, feeling a warm glow of pride. As the workshop wrapped up, Lila handed out flyers for a weekly creativity club she organized. If you enjoyed this, come join us, she said. We explore all kinds of creative activities, painting, writing, even storytelling. Maya took the flyer and thanked Lila. On her way home, she felt a mix of emotions, pride for stepping out of her comfort zone and excitement for what might come next. The mentor's role begins. Maya decided to attend the weekly club. Over the next few sessions, she and Lila grew closer. Lila had a knack for listening without judgment, and Maya found herself sharing more about her struggles and uncertainties. One day, as they were cleaning up after a painting session, Maya confessed, I feel so lost. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. Lila paused, her hands still holding a paintbrush. You know, Maya, I was exactly where you are once, she said. You were? Maya asked, surprised. Oh, absolutely, Lila replied. I spent years working in a corporate job that I hated. I thought I had to follow a certain path because it's what everyone expected of me. But deep down, I knew I wasn't happy. What changed? Maya asked, genuinely curious. I took a leap of faith, Lila said with a smile. I quit my job and started doing what I loved, teaching and creating. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. And you know what? You don't have to have it all figured out right now. Just take small steps. Each one will bring you closer to understanding who you are. Maya absorbed Lila's words, feeling a spark of hope. Maybe she didn't need to have all the answers immediately. Maybe it was okay to take her time. Practical advice from Lila. Lila didn't just offer encouragement, she also gave Maya practical tips. Try keeping a creativity journal, she suggested one day. Write down your thoughts, sketch ideas, or even paste pictures that inspire you. It'll help you see patterns in what excites you. Maya followed her advice and found it surprisingly helpful. She started noticing that she felt happiest when she was creating something, whether it was painting, writing, or even baking with her mother. Another time, Lila encouraged her to enter a local art competition. "It doesn't matter if you win," Lila said. "What matters is that you're putting yourself out there." Maya hesitated but eventually submitted one of her paintings. Though she didn't win, the experience was empowering. Seeing her artwork displayed alongside others made her feel like she belonged to a community of creators. The impact of a mentor. Over the weeks, Maya realized that Lila wasn't just a mentor in art, she was a mentor in life. Through her guidance, Maya began to see challenges not as roadblocks but as opportunities for growth. One evening, as they were packing up after another session, Lila said, "You have a gift, Maya. But more importantly, you have the courage to explore it. Keep going." Maya smiled. "Thank you, Lila. I don't think I could have started this journey without you." Lila waved her hand dismissively. "The journey is yours, Maya. I'm just here to cheer you on." As Maya walked home that night, she felt lighter than she had in months. For the first time in a long time, she didn't feel lost. She felt like she was finding her way. Language learning highlights. Grammar points. Conditionals. If you enjoyed this, come join us. You don't have to have it all figured out right now. Phrasal verbs. Clean up, figure out, put yourself out there. Vocabulary. Words related to creativity, inspiration, expression, freedom, courage. Words for emotions, hesitant, encouraged, empowered, proud. Useful phrases, take a leap of faith, small steps, putting yourself out there. Exploring passions. Maya's journal was slowly becoming her favorite place to be. Over the past few weeks, she had filled its pages with sketches, notes, and reflections. Every time she sat down with it, she felt like she was uncovering pieces of herself. It was like solving a puzzle, one where she didn't have to rush to find the final picture. The advice Lila had given her stuck in her mind: take small steps. So that's what Maya did. She began dedicating an hour every evening to trying something creative. Some days, she painted with watercolors, experimenting with abstract shapes and bold colors. Other days, she wrote short stories, letting her imagination run wild. And then there were days when she baked with her mother, learning old family recipes and adding her own twists. Each activity brought her joy, but it also taught her something about herself. Painting as an expression. Painting became Maya's safe haven. She loved the way colors blended on the canvas, creating something entirely new. At first, she stuck to simple landscapes, sunsets, mountains, and forests. But as she grew more comfortable, her work became more personal. One evening, after a particularly emotional day, Maya painted her feelings instead of a scene. She used dark blues and deep reds to express frustration, and soft yellows to show hope. When she stepped back to look at the finished piece, she felt a surge of pride. For the first time, she had created something that felt truly hers. "Wow, Maya," her mother said when she saw the painting. "This is incredible. Have you thought about sharing your work with others?" Maya hesitated. "I don't know. What if people don't like it?" Her mother smiled. "It's not about what others think. It's about what it means to you." Encouraged by her mother's words, Maya started sharing her paintings online. She created a small social media page where she posted her work, along with short captions about what each piece represented. To her surprise, people responded positively. Comments like, "This is beautiful," and "I can feel the emotion in this," made her realize that her art could connect with others. Writing as a new discovery. One rainy afternoon, Maya decided to try something new. She opened her laptop, stared at the blank screen, and started typing. The words flowed easily at first, then slowed as she overthought every sentence. "This is harder than I thought," she muttered to herself. She remembered something Lila had said, "It doesn't have to be perfect. Just start." So, Maya let go of her need to get everything right and just wrote. She created a story about a girl who could paint her dreams, bringing them to life in the real world. The story was rough and unfinished, but it sparked a new excitement in her. Writing became another way for Maya to express herself. She began attending open mic nights at the library, where people shared poetry, stories, and music. The first time she read one of her stories aloud, her hands trembled, but the applause afterward filled her with confidence. Baking and reconnecting. Baking was something Maya had always done with her mother, but she never thought of it as a passion. One weekend, while scrolling through her creativity journal, she found an idea she had written weeks earlier: create something edible and artistic. She decided to try decorating cakes. Her first attempt was a disaster. The icing was too runny, and the colors clashed horribly. But Maya couldn't stop laughing as she and her mother tasted the messy cake. "It's delicious, at least," her mother said, grinning. Maya kept practicing, learning from YouTube videos and experimenting with different designs. Soon, she was creating cakes that looked as good as they tasted. Her friends started asking her to bake for birthdays and celebrations, and Maya realized that baking could be another way to share her creativity with others. Challenges along the way. Of course, the journey wasn't always smooth. There were days when Maya doubted herself, when her paintings didn't turn out the way she wanted, or her writing felt uninspired. One day, after struggling with a painting for hours, she slammed her brush down in frustration. "Maybe I'm not good at this after all," she muttered. Lila's words came back to her: "Failures teach us something." Taking a deep breath, Maya looked at her painting again. It wasn't perfect, but it had potential. She decided to let it be and start fresh the next day. Maya also struggled with balancing her new passions with her responsibilities. She still worked part-time at the coffee shop and helped her parents at home. Finding time for herself felt like a challenge, but it taught her the importance of setting boundaries and prioritizing what mattered most. Finding a community. As Maya explored her interests, she started meeting people who shared her passions. At the Creativity Club, she bonded with other artists and writers. At the open mic nights, she connected with storytellers who encouraged her to keep writing. And through her social media page, she found a supportive community of people who appreciated her art. For the first time, Maya felt like she belonged. She wasn't just someone drifting through life. She was an artist, a writer, a baker. She was creating her own identity, piece by piece. A big step forward. One day, Lila announced an upcoming community art fair. "It's a great opportunity to showcase your work," she told Maya. The idea terrified Maya. "I'm not sure I'm ready for that," she said. Lila smiled. "You're more ready than you think. And remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about sharing your journey." With Lila's encouragement, Maya decided to participate. She spent weeks preparing, creating paintings that represented different parts of her journey. Each piece told a story of fear, hope, growth, and joy. When the day of the art fair arrived, Maya felt a mix of nerves and excitement. As people browsed her booth, she watched their reactions. Some stopped to ask questions, while others simply admired her work in silence. By the end of the day, Maya had sold 2 paintings and received countless compliments. But more importantly, she felt a sense of accomplishment she had never experienced before. Lessons learned. Through exploring her passions, Maya learned that self-discovery wasn't about finding a single answer, it was about embracing the process. She didn't need to have everything figured out right away. Every step she took brought her closer to understanding who she was and what she wanted from life. She also learned to celebrate small victories. Whether it was finishing a painting, writing a short story, or baking a cake, each achievement reminded her of her progress. Language learning highlights. Grammar points. Past continuous, she was creating cakes that looked as good as they tasted. Modal verbs, what if people don't like it? Present perfect, Maya had sold 2 paintings. Vocabulary. Words related to creativity, experiment, design, connect, showcase. Describing emotions, nervous, proud, inspired, frustrated. Useful phrases, let go of perfection, small victories, embrace the process. Facing criticism. Maya sat at her desk, staring at the screen of her phone. It had been a few days since the community art fair, and her online followers had continued to comment on her paintings. Most of the comments were positive, supportive, encouraging, and uplifting. But one comment stood out. "This painting lacks depth. You should stick to easier subjects. Maya read the message over and over again, each time feeling her heart sink a little further. Who was this person to judge her work? How could they say something like that? The harsh words felt like a punch to the gut. At first, she thought about ignoring the comment. But something about it bothered her. She couldn't shake the feeling that maybe there was some truth to it. Maybe her art didn't have depth. Maybe it wasn't good enough. The weight of self-doubt. For the next few days, Maya struggled with self-doubt. She avoided her painting supplies and spent less time on her social media page. The joy she had once felt from creating and sharing her work now felt overshadowed by the fear of criticism. Her mother noticed the change. "Maya, you've been so quiet lately. Is everything okay?" Maya hesitated, not wanting to worry her mother. "Yeah, I'm fine. Just thinking about some things." Her mother raised an eyebrow. "Thinking about what?" "I don't know. I've been reading some comments on my art, and I don't know if I'm good enough," Maya admitted. "One of the comments really got to me. It said my painting lacked depth, and now I can't stop thinking about it." Her mother sat beside her. "Sweetheart, no one will ever like everything you do. There will always be criticism. But that doesn't mean you're not good enough. Your art is about you, not what others think." Maya nodded, though she wasn't entirely convinced. It was easier said than done. The truth was, the comment had opened a door to her own insecurities, ones she hadn't fully acknowledged before. The mentor's wisdom. A few days later, Maya met with Lila at the Creativity Club. She had been avoiding her for a while, too, unsure of how to talk about her feelings of doubt. But something about Lila's calm demeanor made Maya want to open up. As they sipped tea in the cozy corner of the club, Maya finally spoke. "Lila, I need your advice. I got a comment on my art that really bothered me. It's made me question everything." Lila listened intently, nodding. "Tell me more." Maya explained the comment, her voice tinged with frustration. "I know I shouldn't care, but it really stung. What if they're right? What if I'm not good enough to do this?" Lila leaned forward, her expression thoughtful. "Maya, I want you to remember something. Criticism isn't always about you, it's about the person giving it. Sometimes, people say things out of their own frustrations or insecurities. It's easy to project those feelings onto others. But that doesn't mean their opinion should define you." Maya listened carefully, taking in Lila's words. "But what if I really am lacking something? What if my art doesn't have depth?" Then ask yourself this: what does depth mean to you? Art is subjective. What one person sees as lacking depth, another might see as simplicity and elegance. The important thing is to stay true to what you're trying to express. If your work feels right to you, then it has depth. Maya thought about this for a moment. Lila was right, of course. She had always painted from the heart, not to impress anyone. Maybe it was time to trust herself more and stop measuring her worth by other people's standards. The power of perspective. In the days that followed, Maya began to shift her focus. Instead of obsessing over the negative comment, she chose to focus on the positive feedback she had received. She remembered how many people had commented on how her paintings made them feel something, how her work had sparked emotion or conversation. Maya decided to look at criticism as an opportunity for growth rather than a personal attack. She read through the comment again, but this time with a more critical eye. Perhaps there was some truth in it, after all. She didn't need to ignore it completely. Instead of letting it discourage her, she could use it as a chance to experiment and push herself further. She returned to her studio, determined to create something new, something that pushed her boundaries. She spent days working on a painting that was more abstract and complex than anything she had done before. The colors were darker, the brushstrokes more intense. It wasn't perfect, but it felt right. When the painting was finished, Maya stared at it for a long time, unsure of what to think. She felt both proud and vulnerable. She was putting herself out there again, risking more criticism, but this time it didn't feel so terrifying. Learning to accept criticism. A week later, Maya posted the new painting online. She knew that more comments would come, but this time, she wasn't as afraid. The first comment she read was from a woman who had always been kind to her work. "This is so raw and powerful. I love it," it read. Maya smiled, feeling a sense of relief wash over her. But then, a few more comments appeared, some positive, but a few critical ones as well. One comment stood out: "I don't get it. It feels too chaotic. I preferred your earlier works." Maya took a deep breath and read the comment again. It stung, but this time, she didn't let it define her. Instead of letting the negative words affect her, she simply nodded. Not everyone will understand, and that was okay. The reality of being an artist, or doing anything in the public eye, was that there would always be differing opinions. It was impossible to please everyone. But as long as she stayed true to herself, she could find peace in knowing that her art had meaning, even if it wasn't universally understood. Building resilience. As Maya continued her creative journey, she learned to embrace criticism as part of the process. She started seeing it as a tool for improvement rather than a personal attack. She would still feel hurt at times, but she had begun to understand the value of resilience. Every piece of feedback, positive or negative, was a chance to grow. She also became more selective about which opinions she valued. Instead of letting random comments shape her self-worth, she focused on feedback from people she trusted, her family, Lila, and a few close friends. They understood her work and her journey. One evening, after finishing another new piece, Maya felt a sense of peace. She had learned to trust herself more, to create without the weight of other people's judgments. She knew that, no matter what, her art was her own, and that was enough. Language learning highlights. Grammar points. First conditional: if I work hard, I'll improve. Second conditional: if I wasn't afraid of criticism, I'd create more freely. Imperatives: trust yourself, don't take it personally. Vocabulary. Words related to criticism: constructive, harsh, feedback, personal attack, subjective. Words for emotions: vulnerable, resilient, discouraged, empowered. Useful phrases: stay true to yourself, don't let it define you, use it as an opportunity for growth. The turning point. Maya's days were slowly settling into a rhythm. She painted, wrote, baked, and shared her creations online. Yet, despite her progress in facing criticism and discovering her passions, something still felt incomplete. It was as though she had been climbing a mountain, but the summit remained hidden in the clouds. One morning, Maya received an unexpected email. It was from the organizer of the community art fair. The subject line read, "An exciting opportunity." Curious, Maya opened the email. The organizer wrote about an upcoming art exhibit in the city, inviting Maya to participate. This wasn't just any exhibit. It was a showcase of emerging artists from across the region. The chance to display her work on such a large scale felt both thrilling and overwhelming. Maya stared at the email, her thoughts racing. Was she ready for something this big? A big decision. That evening, Maya shared the news with her parents and Lila. "Wow, Maya, that's amazing," her mother said, her eyes shining with pride. "You have to do it." Lila nodded in agreement. "This could be a turning point for you, Maya. It's a chance to reach a larger audience and grow as an artist." But Maya hesitated. What if I'm not good enough? What if my work doesn't belong there? Her father, who rarely weighed in on her creative pursuits, spoke up. "Maya, you've been doubting yourself since the beginning. But look how far you've come. This isn't about being perfect, it's about taking the next step." Maya knew he was right. If she let fear hold her back now, she might regret it forever. With a deep breath, she replied to the email, accepting the invitation. The journey of preparation. The weeks leading up to the exhibit were a whirlwind of activity. Maya had to choose 5 pieces to display, but she also wanted to create something new, something that represented her growth. She decided to dedicate one painting to each stage of her journey. The beginning, a piece inspired by her first tentative steps into the world of art. The struggle, a painting that reflected her battles with self-doubt and criticism. The discovery, a vibrant piece showcasing her joy in exploring her passions. The critique, a raw, emotional work representing her experience of facing judgment. The turning point, her newest piece, still unfinished, which would symbolize her decision to embrace challenges and grow. Maya poured her heart into each painting. Some days were easier than others. On tough days, she doubted her choices and wondered if she was in over her head. But she kept going, reminding herself that growth came from perseverance. Unveiling the new piece. The night before the exhibit, Maya stood in her studio, staring at her unfinished fifth piece. She had titled it Rise, and it depicted a phoenix emerging from flames, a symbol of resilience, rebirth, and transformation. The colors were bold, fiery oranges, deep reds, and shimmering golds. But something still felt incomplete. Maya thought about everything she had learned over the past months, the importance of trusting herself, embracing imperfection, and staying true to her voice. She picked up her brush and added the final touches, a swirl of blue, representing calm amidst chaos, and streaks of white, symbolizing hope. When she stepped back, she felt a wave of satisfaction. The painting wasn't just a work of art, it was a reflection of her journey. The day of the exhibit. The day of the exhibit arrived, and Maya felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. Her parents, Lila, and a few close friends came to support her, filling her with a sense of gratitude. As Maya set up her display, she noticed the talent of the other artists around her. Their work was stunning, each piece unique and powerful. For a moment, doubt crept back in. Did her paintings measure up? But then she remembered what Lila had told her, "Your art is about you, not about comparison." The exhibit opened to the public, and soon, visitors began wandering through the gallery. Maya stood by her display, watching as people stopped to admire her work. Some took photos, others asked questions. A young girl approached her and pointed to the Phoenix painting. "Did you make this?" she asked, wide-eyed. Maya smiled. "Yes, I did." "It's beautiful," the girl said. "It makes me feel like I can be brave." Maya's heart swelled. "Thank you. That means a lot to me." A meaningful encounter. Later in the evening, a woman approached Maya's display. She looked familiar, but Maya couldn't place her. "Your work is incredible," the woman said, her voice warm. "It's so expressive and personal." "Thank you," Maya replied, feeling a blush rise to her cheeks. The woman introduced herself as an art curator from a gallery in a nearby city. "I'd love to feature your work in one of our upcoming exhibitions," she said. Maya's jaw dropped. "Really? I don't know what to say." "Say yes," the curator replied with a smile. "Your art has something special. People need to see it." Maya nodded, barely able to contain her excitement. This opportunity felt like a dream, a sign that she was on the right path. Reflecting on the journey. When the exhibit ended, Maya felt a sense of fulfillment she had never experienced before. She had taken a risk, faced her fears, and come out stronger. The positive feedback, the connections she made, and the chance to share her story all felt like rewards for her perseverance. As she packed up her paintings, Lila came over and hugged her. "I'm so proud of you, Maya. This was your moment, and you embraced it." "Thank you," Maya said, her voice full of emotion. "I couldn't have done it without your guidance." "But you did the work," Lila replied. "You found your strength. And this is just the beginning." Maya smiled. For the first time, she believed those words. Lessons learned. The exhibit marked a turning point in Maya's life. She realized that growth wasn't about avoiding challenges but about embracing them. It wasn't about being perfect but about being authentic. She also learned that every step of her journey had value, from the struggles to the victories. Each experience had shaped her into the person she was becoming. Most importantly, Maya understood that her journey wasn't over. There would be more challenges ahead, but she felt ready to face them. She had found her voice, her passion, and her resilience. Language learning highlights. Grammar points. Past perfect, she had taken a risk and come out stronger. Reported speech, the curator said she'd love to feature Maya's work. Future simple, this is just the beginning. Vocabulary. Words related to art, exhibit, showcase, curator, display. Words for emotions, nervousness, gratitude, fulfillment, authenticity. Useful phrases, a turning point, embrace the challenge, stay true to your voice. Self-reflection. The exhibit had been a whirlwind of excitement and emotion. Days later, Maya found herself sitting in her favorite spot by the window, watching the golden hues of the sunset. Her mind wandered back to everything that had happened, from the criticism that had shaken her confidence to the turning point at the exhibit. Maya opened her sketchbook, the one she had kept since her journey began. Flipping through the pages, she saw not only her artwork but also the scribbled thoughts and feelings she had poured into the margins. Each page told a story, a snapshot of her growth, struggles, and victories. For the first time, Maya truly paused to reflect. Looking back, Maya thought about the girl she had been at the start of her journey, unsure of her abilities, fearful of criticism, and hesitant to take risks. Back then, she had wanted to fit into others' expectations, to earn their approval. She chuckled softly, remembering her early attempts at painting. She had tried so hard to replicate the works of famous artists, thinking that was the only way to be taken seriously. But the pieces had lacked heart, and she had known it. Her mind then drifted to the challenges she had faced, the negative comments, the moments of doubt, and the overwhelming fear of failure. At the time, those experiences had felt like obstacles, but now she saw them as stepping stones. They had taught her resilience and helped her discover what truly mattered, staying authentic and finding joy in her work. Lessons learned. Maya began listing the lessons she had learned, writing them in her sketchbook. Criticism is a tool for growth. She had learned to differentiate between constructive feedback and unnecessary negativity. Criticism no longer felt like an attack on her character but a chance to reflect and improve. Perfection isn't the goal. Trying to create perfect art had only stifled her creativity. Embracing imperfection had freed her to experiment, take risks, and create pieces that felt meaningful. Passion fuels growth. Her journey wasn't just about art, it was about discovering what made her come alive. Her passion for painting, writing, and connecting with others had driven her forward, even in difficult moments. Authenticity is key. When she stopped trying to imitate others and started expressing her true self, her work gained depth and originality. Resilience builds strength. Every challenge she faced had made her stronger. Resilience wasn't about never feeling doubt or fear, it was about continuing despite those feelings. Gratitude. As Maya reflected, she felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. She thought about the people who had supported her along the way. Her parents, their unconditional love had given her a safe foundation to explore her passions. Lila, her mentor, had guided her with wisdom and patience, encouraging her to trust herself. The community, from her social media followers to the people at the exhibit, they had inspired her to keep going. Maya decided to write letters of gratitude to each of them. She wanted them to know how much their support had meant to her. New beginnings. As Maya reflected on her journey, she realized she wasn't the same person she had been at the start. She had grown, not just as an artist, but as an individual. But her journey wasn't over. If anything, this was just the beginning. Maya now had a clearer sense of her goals. Share her story. She wanted to inspire others who were struggling with self-doubt. Through her art and writing, she could show them that growth was possible. Keep learning. Maya knew there was still so much to explore, new techniques to master, new ideas to try, and new ways to grow. Stay true to herself. Above all, she wanted to remain authentic. No matter where her path led, she promised herself that she would create from the heart. A moment of clarity. That evening, as the stars began to dot the sky, Maya picked up her paintbrush. She started a new painting, one that wasn't for an exhibit or an audience, it was just for her. The canvas filled with swirling colors, each stroke reflecting her emotions, gratitude, hope, excitement, and peace. For the first time, she didn't worry about the outcome. The act of creating was enough. As she stepped back to admire her work, Maya smiled. She had come so far, and she was ready for whatever came next. Language learning highlights. Grammar points. Present perfect. She has grown, not just as an artist, but as an individual. Past simple versus present perfect. Maya thought about her journey, past simple, and realized how much she had grown, present perfect. future intentions, she promised herself that she would create from the heart. Vocabulary: reflective words, gratitude, resilience, authenticity, fulfillment. Phrases: stepping stones, new beginnings, true to herself. Conclusion: Maya's journey had been one of self-discovery, growth, and transformation. From a timid young woman afraid to take risks, she had blossomed into someone confident in her abilities and proud of her unique voice. Her art had become more than just a hobby. It was a reflection of her soul and a tool for connecting with others. But Maya's story wasn't just about painting or creativity. It was about the universal struggles we all face, the fear of failure, the pain of criticism, and the desire to find our place in the world. Through her journey, Maya discovered that growth doesn't come from avoiding challenges but from embracing them. Key takeaways from Maya's journey. As Maya reflected on her experiences, she realized that her story carried lessons that could inspire others. Here are some of the key messages she wanted to share. Growth requires courage. Taking the first step is often the hardest part. Whether it's trying something new, sharing your work with others, or facing criticism, growth begins when you step out of your comfort zone. Failure is part of the process. Maya learned that failure isn't something to fear, it's an opportunity to learn and improve. Each mistake brought her closer to understanding her strengths and weaknesses. Authenticity is powerful. By staying true to herself, Maya created art that resonated deeply with others. She realized that people value honesty and vulnerability over perfection. Community matters. Maya's journey wasn't a solo endeavor. The support and encouragement of her family, mentor, and followers played a crucial role in her growth. Surrounding yourself with people who believe in you makes all the difference. The journey never ends. While Maya reached significant milestones, she understood that personal growth is an ongoing process. There will always be more to learn, explore, and achieve. Looking ahead, Maya's journey didn't end with the art exhibit. It marked the beginning of a new chapter. She decided to take the opportunities that came her way, including the invitation to showcase her work at the gallery in the city. But Maya also wanted to use her experiences to help others. She began sharing more of her story on social media, creating posts and videos about her challenges and the lessons she had learned. Her honesty resonated with her audience, and she received messages from people who felt inspired to pursue their own passions. Maya also started hosting workshops for young artists, teaching them not just about techniques but also about finding their voice and building confidence. Helping others gave her a deep sense of fulfillment, reminding her that her journey wasn't just about her. It was about making a difference. A personal reflection. One quiet evening, Maya sat by the window with her journal. She wrote a letter to her past self, the girl who had been too afraid to believe in her potential. Dear Maya, if you're reading this, you're probably doubting yourself again. You're worried that you're not good enough, that your work isn't worth sharing. But I want you to know something: you are enough. Your journey won't be easy, and there will be times when you'll want to give up. But don't. Every challenge you face will teach you something valuable. Every step you take will bring you closer to who you're meant to be. One day, you'll look back on this moment and feel proud of how far you've come. So trust yourself, take risks, and remember that you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be you. With love, Future Maya. Writing the letter brought tears to Maya's eyes. It was a reminder of how much she had grown and how much she had to look forward to. Final thoughts. Maya's journey was a testament to the power of self-belief, perseverance, and passion. While she had faced moments of doubt and fear, she had also discovered strength, joy, and purpose. Her story is a reminder that we all have the potential to grow and achieve great things, as long as we're willing to embrace the journey. Language learning highlights. Grammar points. Conditional statements. If you're reading this, you're probably doubting yourself. Future intentions. She decided to take the opportunities that came her way. Imperatives for encouragement: trust yourself, take risks, and remember. Vocabulary. Reflective terms: self-belief, perseverance, fulfillment, milestones. Inspiring phrases: embrace the journey, you are enough, stay true to yourself. Community-related words: support, encouragement, workshops.